Hey, this is AJ. Welcome back to the Handyman process. In today's video, I'm going to go over my job of the week. It's been a while since I've done a video on job of the week. I've been working, but I just haven't made a video on it. But anyway, today I'm going to go over just a typical list that I get, how I kind of priced it out, what I charged, the ups and downs of the jobs and so on. So stay tuned. All right, so before I get started, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. I started off this channel, several months ago with 0 subscribers, and I watched it go to 1 to 2 to 3, and I'm like at 680 or something right now, which is blowing my mind, which is really, really cool. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching it. I really appreciate it. Anybody who's in this space makes videos. They don't know if anybody's getting any value out of it, but I feel somewhat validated by the subscribers that I'm getting. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. With that being said, let me go ahead and jump into my list of kind of what I worked on, and I'll put a picture up here of kind of the Mark8 screenshot as I walk through. So let's talk about when I estimated this job. So I did this job over the weekend. It's a couple days ago. Knocked the job out. I estimated about a month ago. And how did I estimate it, right? So this particular job came in via Facebook. Someone just said, hey, I have a long list of items. Are you interested? Sure, go ahead and send me your list of items and a couple of pictures. So he sent me a list of items, and you'll see the list of items up there. That's not necessarily the way that I attacked them when I got to the job, but that's how I got them when I received them as an estimate. So in this particular case, I've done all these jobs before. So I kind of went down one by one and said, how much time is this going to take? How much time is that going to take? And I just multiplied it times my hourly rate. So in this particular case, I'm like, yeah, it's going to take me about 6 hours or so. I'll estimate out about $100 an hour. And actually, I was spot on in terms of the time. I was there from 9 to 12. Plus, I spent a little bit of time at the store. The way that I do my store shopping is I try to consolidate it. Every week, I have to take one of my sons to guitar practice. So while he's there, I just go to the hardware store and usually load up for the jobs for that week. And that's what I did in this case. I was just happened to be over there and did that. Plus, I write that off. You go back and look at some of my tax videos. I write off that trip to Home Depot that I'm also going to the guitar store because it's right next door to each other. So if you could do those types of things and save yourself some money, go ahead and do that. But let's say I spent just an hour at the hardware store for this particular case. I'll add that time in. But now let's look at the jobs. What did I particularly do? So the first job that I did when I got there was weather stripping on a door. Just the simple. I'll get one real quick. Just a simple kerf weather stripping. This kind of stuff. So if you never put this in, this is what most exterior doors will have. You just kind of slide it into the slot, and it does its thing. So that's usually a piece of cake. 9 out of 10 times those things go in no problem. Sometimes homeowners have done the DIY thing where they stuck all sorts of adhesives on there. This wasn't the case. This was in and out in a few seconds. No big deal. So that one was checked off. The next one. I'm terrible at taking before and after pictures. I need one of those like drones that can just fly around me and videotape everything. That would be great. If you have one of those or have a recommendation, go ahead and let me know. But I had to build some shelves. So the homeowner said, hey, I have these shelves. I want to put some sodas and whatnot in there. Can you just add more shelves to it so I can do that? Yeah, sure, no problem. So I bought a couple pre-made shelf material, a couple MDF pieces, and just put these shelves together. The way that I'd like to do that is I have a Festool track saw. You don't have to get one of these things, but man, this thing's awesome. So I just use a Festool track saw. I'll just bring some scrap plywood with me that I have somewhere over there. I just cut these things out really quick. I don't need a table saw or anything else. Knocked all the shelves out. No issues on that. Check that one off. Next thing he had 2 outlet covers outside that he wanted to replace. They were kind of falling apart, the weatherproof ones. So I bought a couple of those. Had to go find the breakers for that, pull that out, replace those, piece of cake. I had an additional thing that wasn't on the original job. He had a tension cable on his exterior gate that was just loose. So I went through there, knocked that out. And I will make one note, sometimes you get clients that just hang out with you the whole time. This was one of those clients. He didn't bother me, but he was just there the whole time. So if you're the kind of handyman that doesn't like working around people, just FYI, it's going to happen, right? In this particular case, it wasn't a big deal. He was from New York, I was from New York, so we talked a lot about pizza and whatnot. It worked out pretty good. But anyway, the gate was checked off. Next, I moved on to the porch light. I've been doing a lot of lights lately, and I've been doing a lot of these cheap Chinese knockoff lights, the ones where you put the screws in on the side. They're just a pain in the butt, but that went fairly quick, knocked that one out, and then I made my way inside. So we had a couple of doors that weren't latching properly. This is a moneymaker, guys. I tell you what, if it's like the easiest thing that I can work on is readjusting the strike plates, usually chiseling it and moving the strike plate down and maybe forward a little bit so it latches. So I had 2 of those, 10 minutes, vacuuming, chiseled, boom, knocked off. Then I had a TV stand. So I knew this one was probably gonna take more of my time. These assembly jobs usually take some time. But I bought one of those like battery powered screwdrivers recently that I for some reason I held off on this thing for a while, but I saw some other guys using these things. I'm like, I'll finally get one. So I got a Ryobi like pre-charged little screwdriver thing. Thing worked like a charm. Again, the guy was sitting right behind me as I assembled this whole thing. But I knocked that thing out, put that all together, slide that against the wall, checked off. And then the final thing I had on the list was a ceiling fan. Right? So ceiling fans are pretty straightforward. I did switch, I don't have my electrical box here, but I did switch to the Wagos. You've probably heard a lot of guys talking about these things going from wire nuts to Wagos. I love the Wagos. They make the process easy, smooth, and if you're like in a tight area and you can't get the wire nut connection, you're worried, like electrical concerns me, right? I always want to make sure when I put those wires up there that nothing's coming out. So I usually will, I'll twist the wires together, put the wire nut on there, and I'll usually put electrical tape around there. But these Wagos, man, they lock tight. So I put them in there, lock them up. If I feel a little concerned, I'll wrap some tape around them, but if not, I won't. So put the ceiling fan up. As you guys know, ceiling fans, they're all hit or miss in terms of installation. This one was fairly straightforward, so it went together pretty quick. But when it was all said and done, I charged $682, right? I got there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I left at maybe 2:05. Throw an extra hour in there for going to Home Depot, but I don't really count that whole hour. Got $682. You'll see the supply numbers that I have in there. I mark up my supplies. In this case, I marked them up quite a bit. So it's probably a 30-40% markup on supplies. You never know, right? So when I always shoot high with my supplies. If there's a drastic change once I get to the job, I'll cut some money off. In this case, there wasn't a huge drastic change, so I left my supplies the way they were. And then, boom, I left the job, send electronic link via Markate, and job's done. I get paid via Square. Square takes its 2.9% cut, so the rest of the money's in my pocket. So on average, about $600 per hour of my time there. That's before taxes and everything else. But that's what a typical job looks like for me. I get my list of stuff from the client. I estimate it out. They accept it, and then I go from there. And you might be saying, $682, who's going to pay that, right? Even the client was like, man, I should be a handyman. And I said, well, could you do everything I just did in 6 hours? He's like, no, dude, it would take me 2 weeks. I said, yeah, that's why I get paid what I get paid. I can knock all those things out. And if you're a handyman, you can knock all those things out. We take this for granted that anybody can do this, but a lot of people can't do what we do. Even assembling that TV stand, some people, it takes 5 hours to put that thing together. People are different, right? That person might be able to, create a spreadsheet in 2 minutes, take somebody else 8 hours. Everybody has their skills. Our skills as handymen and handy women happen to be fixing things and assembling things. And as you do it over and over and over again, that learning curve goes down, you get better and you get faster. And you should be compensated for that time. Don't have that tendency to be like, well, I did it so quick, I should charge less. No, you're getting paid for your skill. You don't pay a surgeon less because he finished the operation quicker, right? No, you pay him top dollar because he's a surgeon. And a handyman gets paid if you're quick, efficient, you get paid top dollar, right? And if they don't accept your prices, move on to the next client. Anyway, that's the job of the week. Hopefully you're doing good out there and crushing it. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Go ahead and drop them down below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks. Bye.